Hello, good evening. Welcome to the PL Masterclass series. I apologize, sorry for running a bit late. And thank you for joining. Wherever you're joining from, I would just love to see your comments in the comment section. Let me know where you're joining from as you connect. Thank you for joining again tonight. You're welcome to the P Masterclass. So PL is simply an acronym that stands for purpose, impact, leadership, and legacy. It is simply a summary of my convictions about life and leadership. It is a framework that shapes and directs what the work we do as an organization. I believe in purposeful living. I believe that every one of us, we have born and we are brought into this world to live for a purpose that is bigger than us. We're not just here to satisfy our personal interests. I believe that we're here to contribute meaningfully to the world. I believe that we're here to make positive impact in the lives of people, to contribute meaningfully to the lives of those around us and those who are connected to our destinies. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see in the world. So I personally believe that by living an authentic life, by sharing my story, by allowing my light to shine, I can, by shining my light, I can give others the permission to express their gifts, to shine their lights. So this is the third component of the leadership philosophy, which is leadership that I believe in leadership that transpires and leadership that transforms. And I also believe that above it all, we are here to leave a mark in this world. We are here to leave the world better than we found it. We are here to leave a mark that is bigger than us. And so I welcome you again to tonight's masterclass. This is the foundation of everything that we'll be discussing over the month. So P Masterclass is going to be a monthly series, and the aim is to just empower us with the right philosophies. Everything I've just described, everything I just shared with you right now, it's actually dependent on how we think. I strongly believe that our lives are actually defined by our paradigms. And your paradigms simply means the lens through which you see the world and how you interpret your experiences, how you interpret your culture, um, the things that happen around you. That is what your paradigm simply means. And your paradigm is primarily determined. It is a reflection of your philosophy, how you think, how you behave, what you believe about life. And so, as Jim Rohn once said, the famous personal development coach, that you can change your life if you can change your philosophy. I want to take that again. You can change your life if you can change your philosophy. So, at the center of everything, your philosophy is actually the driving force of your life. If your philosophy is right, you're going to live right. And if your philosophy is wrong, you are going to struggle to actually express or perform optimally in a world that God has brought you into to shine your light. This is the foundation of this class tonight. This is the foundation of what we'll be doing over the coming masterclass sessions, just to empower you with the right philosophy. And talking about philosophy, there is this story that I've heard from different sources. It's about two brothers that they grew up with the same father. They grew up, with the same father. Their father was an alcoholic. He was a drunkard. He was known for his um, drinking escapades. So, but these guys, they grew up under the same circumstances, with the same exposure, with the same experiences, but they turned out differently in life. So one became a medical doctor, while the other one became a drunkard. And ironically, when they were quizzed, when they were asked why the divergence, why the difference in outcomes, it will surprise you to know that these two brothers pointed to their father as the reason why they didn't, as the reason for their outcomes in life. Isn't that surprising? How is it that two brothers under the same father with the same experiences, with the same exposure, ended up differently? It just simply shows you the power of your philosophy. So while one took the father's limitations as a motivation to create a better life for himself, the other person actually believed that he was the creature of the circumstance. He actually believed that there was nothing he could do about his life, so he followed after his father's footsteps. And that should begin to ring a bell in your heart, ring a bell in your mind, even as we proceed in our conversation. What are the philosophies that are shaping your life? What are the philosophies that are guiding your life? This actually forms the foundation of my belief as a leader and as a person. I sincerely believe that no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter where you come from, no matter what has happened to you, I'm honestly speaking, I don't have the liberty of sharing personal stories or saying some things. But when you study history, when you study history and even contemporary successful figures, you are going to find a common theme. They are people who rose above the greatest of challenges. There are people who rose above obstacles to actually step into the place of relevance, step into the place of success, step into the place of significance. So this informs my belief that no matter what happens to you, no matter your background, no matter where you're coming from, I sincerely believe that I sincerely believe with all my heart that with the right philosophy, that you can actually rise above those challenges to fulfill your potential and to um, become all that God destined for you to become. So this is also what inspires our work as an organization, Inspired Nexus. So we're not just existing as an organization because we want to have a name and a brand. No, the vision of Inspired Nexus is to help young people, young leaders. We know that a lot of young leaders face a lot of challenges, and the vision is to help young leaders to actually overcome those seeming obstacles, to step into the place of power, to step into the place of grit, and to achieve their purpose above all, against all odds. So, this is what we do, this is what guides our work as an organization. So you're welcome to tonight's class because I believe that at the end of the class, you're going to have a paradigm shift. There's going to be a point, a movement, a shift. And that is what transformation simply entails. There's going to be a shift from your wrong thinking, from your old ways of thinking, and you're going to be empowered with the right philosophies that's going to help you to curate your 2026, that's going to help you to frame your 2026. All right. So tonight, I'll be teaching on a topic. So this is a 2 days program, but I'll be starting tonight with the foundational framework, a topic I have titled Clairvoyance, the power to imagine and create the future. I'm going to take it again. Clairvoyance, the power to imagine and create the future. So clairvoyance is spelled Clairvoyance for those who would be taking notes. Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance. It's a very, very powerful psychological principle that is truly and richly going to change your perspective about life. So I want to promise you that at the end of this particular session, you're going to have your mind awakened. You're going to leave this, you're going to understand the power of your mind, and you're going to leave this class with your mind awakened to its visionary functioning capacity. So you're going to understand that the mind is a vision generating system. And you're also going to learn how to harness this power of your mind to begin to imagine your possibilities, to create your possibilities, and actually now begin to live from those possibilities you've created. So this is the concept of vision. So when we talk about vision, what does it simply mean? So as a leader, what makes you a leader primarily is that you've been able to have a clear mental picture of your future. And then you've traveled into that future, you've seen, you know conceptually where you are going to, and then you come back to lead others to that journey. That is the foundation of visionary leadership. That is what vision simply means. So when we talk visionary leadership, it is simply the fact that you've been able to have a clear imagination. You've been able to grasp a future that is beyond your present condition, beyond your present circumstance, beyond your present situation. And then you are now living and working actively towards that future. As Dr. Miles Munro said, eyes that look, they are common. They are everywhere. Eyes that look are common all around us. You see people who are walking aimlessly without any meaningful direction in their life, without any meaningful purpose, and it's pathetic. And I hope that this class is going to help some persons to actually leave that realm of living an a scattered life to actually living a life that is meaningful, a life that is shaped by their visionary thinking. A clear and compelling vision is the foundation to having a great life. A clear and compelling vision is the foundation to having a great year. A clear and compelling vision is the foundation to having a successful life. It is also the it is what you need to actually achieve your goals for the year. So you can't start 2026 anyhow. You can't start 2026 randomly. You can't start 2026 scattered. You actually have to begin with this concept of imagination. You have to begin with this concept of imagination, defining where you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to become. All of those things are just the concepts of vision, and then actually now working towards them. All right. So before I proceed, I just want to start this particular teaching on clairvoyance with a story. It's a personal story and it's a funny one. And I want to publicly apologize to my elder brother before I go ahead because I'll be airing him and he's not aware. I'm sure that he might not even remember this story, but it's something that happened while we were growing up, while I was growing up in my childhood. So one of the days, my brother called me. He wanted to send me on an errand. And so when he called me, he was just giving me the instructions. And as he was talking to me, something happened. I left that space. I mean, not literally, but I was cut off. I wasn't with me. I wasn't with him. So he was just talking and talking and talking. But guess what was happening to me? In my mind, that was the time that we are just getting introduced to. I'm embarrassed to say this, but then it's not in other juvenile behaviors. No, I was just getting in touch to know there was this girl that was, I was just becoming friends with. And what happened was that at that particular day when my brother was trying to send me on an errand, I was supposed to meet the girl. So you can't imagine the ecstasy. I was in high spirits that day, doing my chores, everything. I was just in high spirits. I was looking forward eagerly to it. So what happened is that while my brother was speaking to me, I was in my mind visualizing how I would meet this girl. And then I was planning to get her a bubble gum. So the number of bubble gums I was going to get her and all of that. So that's what was happening in my mind right there while my brother was talking to me. But guess what happened again? So the next thing that brought me back to reality, I think my brother discovered that I was cut off. I wasn't with him. You know, in Nigeria, they say if they slap you, it's going to bring out stars. So that slap, that kind of slap that brings out stars, that was the slap that brought me back to reality. And it was like, what up? What's happening to you? Why are you not? So, you see, I share this story because I remember it with fondness now. I remember it fondly. And it has shaped my understanding of the power of the mind. What I didn't know then was actually what I'm trying to teach you, what I'm teaching you. I was daydreaming. That's what we call it. If you grew up in the typical Nigerian home, you hear a lot of that. Say, don't daydream, don't live in fantasies. All of those things, don't live in fantasies. You are building castles in the air. So I was daydreaming literally while my brother was talking to me. My mind had left him, and I was visualizing how I would spend my time without my then girlfriend. Is this not the story of most persons? I mean, in our childhood, I know that faculty of our mind, we had this thing about daydreaming, we had this thing about just randomly visualizing the future. And but here's one sad thing I noticed, that before we grew up, before we had the ability to actually harness this power, before we had the ability to shape it, some of us were shut down. Say, don't daydream. So that faculty of the mind was suppressed. It was it was not allowed to express itself. What you call daydreaming was actually the subconscious mind trying to frame the future, just as we are discussing. It was just the subconscious mind in its raw, in its uncontrolled state, trying to express itself. That is what we call the dreaming. Unfortunately, some of us were not, were that faculty was suppressed. Now you grow up. Also, when you grow up, and suddenly you know that you should have more. You know that there is something about you that is beyond your present circumstances. And suddenly you are dreaming for a big future. You are dreaming to be in a better place. But somehow you still see, just like my brother slapped me, circumstances of life, they are telling you, people, societal stereotypes, the traditions of men, the cultures, what has been. This has not been done here. Nobody in our family has been able to rise. Nobody in our family has achieved this. Why do you want to take a space that you can only go so far, but not further? This is the limit you can go. All manner of things. It is slapping you, trying to suppress that the faculty that is responsible for actually shaping your future. Are you with me? If you're with me so far, I'd just love to um, see your reactions in the comments. I would love to know that you're following. All right. So here's the thing: why we tempt daydream as fantasies? Why we tempt daydreaming as just a random imagination? Clairvoyance, in its sense, clairvoyance is not an abstract word. It is a psychological principle. It's not an abstract word. It is a psychological term. It's a function of the subconscious mind. Clairvoyance is the ability, the disciplined ability to form, to hold, and emotionally imagine a clear mental picture and to live in alignment with it. I'm going to take the definition again. Clairvoyance is the disciplined ability to form, to hold, and emotionally imagine a clear mental picture and to live in alignment with it. So, this is just basically saying this is the foundation of visionary thinking. That whereas daydreaming in its unexpressed state as children growing up, that faculty was already there existing, but we didn't know how to channel it. Now, clairvoyance is, first of all, it is the discipline. So you see now, it is about controlling this power of imagination instead of having random scattered thoughts here and there. Because I can tell you the truth, I daydreamed a lot. In fact, okay, now I imagine, right? I have the disciplined ability. I've disciplined myself now to harness that power. But oh no, I daydreamed a lot growing up as a child. But that was uncontrolled imagination. You can't imagine some of the things I dreamed about. I was even producing movies, those times in my mind. So, but clairvoyance is the discipline. So, we're trying to say that you have to discipline your mind You have that ability to discipline your mind. You have the ability to discipline your imagination to actually get a clear mental picture, to form a picture, and then to hold on to it. So it has to be consistent. It's not just a one-off situation. It has to be consistent. You have to hold on to it consistently and then now begin to live in alignment with that vision. In leadership, clairvoyance is simply vision driven living, vision driven thinking. And that is my definition of leadership. I define leadership, rather vision. I define vision as the driving force of your life. You have to have something that is driving you beyond your momentary and immediate situation. You have to have something that is pushing you, something that a clear and compelling vision. And clairvoyance is the function of your mind that allows you to actually express that vision. So this is 2026. Congratulations. We thank God for bringing us into the year. We hope that it will be a prosperous year. Amen. We pray that it's going to be successful for every one of us. We pray that we're going to achieve all our dreams and our goals at the end of the day. But here's the question for you. How have you stepped into the year? What are your plans for the year? What is your vision for the year? Who must you become? What goals must you achieve? What plans do you have in place to achieve your goals? This is simply the framework. You have to intentionally, it's a discipline. If you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. So you have the ability within you to frame your future, but then it has to be intentional. It has to be strategic. It has to be coordinated. That is what clairvoyance is about. 2026 should not be like any other year for you. 2026 should not be like the yesteryears. There has to be something different about this year. And I'm also talking about beyond 2026 because this is my conviction and belief. For me, I don't believe that the new year is just there for me to restart my life. No, the new year is like every year is a foundation, is a building block. I'm building on my existing vision. Do you understand? Are you following me? Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm building on my existing vision. So this is what the year has to be about. But I also equally understand that not everybody is on the same pedestal. So if you are starting out and you don't have a clue as to how you want to shape your year, I hope that what I'm sharing with you can be of help to you, that you can get a clear and compelling vision. And this is my belief too. I honestly speaking, I believe in goal setting. I have goals for the year. I have goals that I've already set out. But here's what I've discovered. A lot of persons every year, they step into the year and they are setting new goals. And most often there is no alignment. It's scattered. So this year you hear that they are doing this one there. Maybe affiliate marketing is in vogue. You want to go into it. You want to dabble into it. You hear that crypto is paying. You want to dabble into it. You see, it's scattered. Where the money goes, you follow. Stuff like that. Yes, statement like that. As good as that sounds, if you don't have a defining vision, if you don't have a vision that drives you, a vision that propels you to actually living meaningfully within the year, you see that you are going to remain confused, you are going to remain scattered. So beyond setting goals, tomorrow we are going to delve into that. Remember, I promise you it's going to be practical. So today I'm laying the framework, I'm laying the foundation. So, but beyond setting goals, I'm hoping that I evoke within you that passion, that desire, that zeal to become visionary in your thinking. Life without vision is meaningless. You may want to write that down. Life without vision is meaningless. So the faculty that is responsible for our life's vision, the faculty that is responsible for generating our life's vision is your mind. The mind of man is his most powerful asset. And it could be his biggest liability. It can be your asset when you train it. See, when your mind is trained, it can be your biggest asset. But if you fail to train it, if you fail to culture your mind, it can be your biggest liability. The mind is the most powerful force in the world. Many of us don't realize that everything that has been achieved in this world, everything that was created in this world is a function of the mind. So I'm trying to tell you that no matter, I don't care what your state right now is, if you can just wake up to this realization that I have a mind. I have a mind. Yes, you have a mind. Let it just sink in. You have a mind. It may sound so simple, but it's profound. You just wake up to that realization that, oh, my life is not dictated by my external circumstances. I actually have what it takes within me to control my life. I have actually what it takes within me to direct my life. It's all in my mind. When you have that understanding, believe me, it is the foundation. It becomes the springboard for you to live in a limitless life. There are no limits in life. The only limits are the ones you impose on yourself. There is no obstacle that is too hard that you can't surmount if only you will engage the power of your mind. So your mind can be your friend or it can be your foe. So it's going to be your friend if it helps you to achieve your desired success, and it's your foe if it leads you in the path of failure. So your mind is very powerful. When I talk about the mind, I love to use this analogy. So you know what a ship is, the boat, a canoe, and all of that. There is something called an oar, the oar of a ship. Is this what you use to row on the water? You get it? So that stick, as little and insignificant as it may appear, is actually what controls the direction of that ship. Take it away, and that ship is at the mercy of the wind and the waves of the sea. That is how the mind is. It's like the oar of the ship. It may appear so insignificant. I'm not trying to teach you neuroscience, where the neural networks are. No, but you have a mind. Just understand that. But then it is like the oar of the ship. So it is you that is holding it. You can steer it in the direction that you have. It may look so insignificant, but it is powerful. It is like the engine of the steamboat. It's like the engine of the car, the motor vehicle. You see a car moving on the road, there is something powering it. Take away the engine of that car, it is as good as useless. The aesthetics may be so wonderful, but then if there's no internal structure powering that vehicle, it's useless. So that is what your mind is likened to. Your mind is like the oar of the ship. And you can control your mind, or it can actually control you. You can control your mind, or it can actually control you. Your mind, when it is controlled, helps you to achieve your success. But when it is uncontrolled, it is very dangerous. I'm coming to the heart of our discussion tonight, and I hope that you are following, and I hope that it's been a blessing to you. By the time we are done, like I said, you go home and activate this superpower that is in your mind. So you see, most of our actions, they are driven by the mind. 80% of our actions are driven by the mind. 80%. Human beings, they operate on autopilot, and there is a faculty of the mind that is responsible to that. If you know the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, says so that 20% of your results, 20% of your efforts is actually responsible for 80% of your results. So using that illustration, here is how it works with your mind. So when we talk about the mind, we have two components, two parts of the mind. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. And what rules most of our entire lives, what you call habits, what you call behaviors, what you call choices, decisions, all those even spontaneous moments where you make certain decisions, they are all operational from your subconscious mind. It is your subconscious mind that is responsible for those operations. 80% of your actions are governed by your subconscious mind. But that little 20% is where you have a role to play. You see, most of us grew up and we are conditioned poorly. Our minds is like the computer system. It operates with an operating system. It is what you put into it that gives you out. So just like I said, before we achieve the personal sovereignty, before we gained independence of thinking, before we knew what it meant to make the right choices, we were shaped by forces that were beyond us. We were shaped by environment. First of all, the family where we came from formed our identity, formed our beliefs. The environment where we came from formed our beliefs. The peers we all grew up with, the teachings we listen to. Now, if you are a religious person, the religious teachings, all of that aggregated to form a certain paradigm. Remember from my introduction, your paradigm is how you see the world. And the thing is that most persons think that they are actually in charge of their lives. Most persons think that what they believe is actually their own making. But sadly, no. Sadly, no. A greater percentage of your belief systems were formed at your childhood stage. And most of them were wrong. They were not designed to support a life that is purpose-driven, a life that is impact-driven, a life that is meaningful. They were not designed to spoil you. They were not designed to challenge you. I know that not everybody has this experience, but I'm particularly talking to those who can resonate with what I'm saying. Some of us, this is where we all come from. Even if you had the privileges and the advantages, in some ways you will agree with what I'm saying. Most of us were conditioned poorly. The programs that ran our lives from our childhood to our adulthood. And so this is what happens. Now, when we grow up and we're trying to achieve a particular result, we're trying to do a particular thing or work in a particular direction, we see a conflict of ideologies. And because the prevailing program that is in your mind is actually the negative information that has been put into it, it contradicts every external effort you are making. I experienced this. It's called self-sabotage. You continue to sabotage yourself until you intentionally reprogram your mind. So this is where the conscious mind becomes important. The conscious mind is that faculty, is the logical part of you. It's the part that can make decisions temporarily. It's the part that can make choices temporarily. So that as you are listening to me, you can decide, I want to change my life. This is my subconscious now. Let's make it practical. This is my subconscious now speaking. I want to change my life. I want to be great. I want to be successful. I want to be a celebrated public speaker. That is a decision I'm taking consciously. Here's what happens. I have to reinforce that information repeatedly, consciously. Remember, when I define clairvoyance, I say that it is the disciplined ability. You have to discipline yourself now to begin to retrain your mind, replacing those negative paradigms that you are brought up with these new paradigms that you want to shape your life. And may I also equally let you know, it's not an easy thing to do. I'm not going to flatter you. Most persons, when they teach you about the mindset, it's all about the mind. It's the mindset. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. You believe it, you get it. They are right. But you see, the battle, the internal warfare of reprogramming your mind is a very serious battle. But it's possible with discipline, with intentionality. So that is the function. The 20% effort you put consciously is what drives your 80% subconscious operation. Do you understand that now? Is that clear? So the subconscious mind is actually the faculty of the mind that is responsible for clairvoyance. So when we talk about the power to imagine the future, the power to create the future, this is where it resides. It is the subconscious mind that is responsible for it. I go back to my daydreaming experience again. So as a child, I had that ability to imagine the future. I had that ability to conceptualize the future. I dreamed a lot, and I still dream. I'm a dreamer. I love dreaming, but now with intention, with vision, with purpose, with clarity. But here's the thing, that ability, that this subconscious mind, it started to express itself in the form of daydream, even as a child. So it is something that is inherent in every one of us. It is called mental time travel, psychologically speaking. The movies you watch today, they are all products of imaginations formed in the subconscious. The movie directors, they first of all sit down and by the power of clairvoyance, imagine a certain scenario, the scripts, everything, and then they come to replicate it in life. And so you see, that's why when you watch certain movies, it appears so real. Sometimes even the emotions that are put into it can make you almost want to, oh, you are feeling it. That's because the power of the subconscious is so great that it does not differentiate between reality and imaginary. So this is not an abstract concept. The subconscious does not differentiate between reality and imaginary, so that you can actually tap into this superpower and actually begin to redefine your future, redefine your life, redefine who you want to become. You don't have to look around your circumstances. I love to say this: no matter what is happening around me, it can't get worse than that. I can't change anything. You see, I have to change myself first from within. It is inside out change. That is how transformation works. So instead of focusing on the externals, instead of focusing on what is going wrong, focus on what is happening within you. How can you realign your life? How can you take advantage, leverage this superpower that is within you, called the subconscious? How can you feed it intentionally with information that makes it possible for you to begin to conceptualize the vision that of who you want to be tomorrow? So you have what it takes. And right now, as I'm speaking with you, you can even start right now. I want to share this story with you as I begin to bring this session to a close, because, like I said, this was just a foundational experience. Sometime in 2021 now, right? I think 2020, 2021. No, 2019, sorry. I attended a program that changed my life. Everywhere I go, I share this story, and I owe the credit of this story to this man that God used to inspire what I hope I'm inspiring in you today. So I was in a conference, he was teaching, he was just sharing his story about how he was once a dullard, and he struggled academically in school. I mean, people wrote him off. They wrote him off. They didn't believe in him. He didn't even believe himself. But miraculously, and God helping him, he entered into the university, and the summary is that he changed his life. He changed his story. Now he's a well-to-do lecturer in one of the universities in Nigeria. Something was happening within me as he was sharing that story. That would be my first time of developing a framework. I called it then FAST. I left that conference with the vision, with the desire to be a financially, academically, spiritually towering Christian. I began to see myself operating exceptionally. I began to see myself operating excellently. And to give you context, this was an academic seminar. So, and we were preparing for our exams. And before that time, not to brag, but by the grace of God, when brilliance, growing up, that intelligence is there. But for some reason, in my university, I was just having the C grades. I was having the B grades. And I was comfortable with a mediocre life. I was just in school to pass through school. But something from that man changed my life. I went back, I said, Caleb, there got to be more. You can be more than this. As a Christian, you can be more. You can represent God excellently. This is the foundation of my story. What inspired change? And so I came back, I started studying. He gave us a principle then, said, make sure you finish your book 7 times and all of that and all of that. To cut the long story short, when the semester results came out, wow, I moved from being a C grade student to A's. And I don't remember having a C till I graduated from my 300 level to my 400 level. That is the power that is within us. But I needed somebody to help me unlock it. And that became the springboard that began to shape my journey. Today, we are doing what we are doing because I was in a room where a man shared his story, and that story changed my life. That story ignited something within me, something that has always been, something that's always been there. And that is one beautiful thing about ideas. You see, ideas are not everywhere. Ideas, rather, are ubiquitous. They are everywhere, right? We say ideas are not common to any man. But ideas find themselves in rooms like this, in rooms where inspirational stories are being exchanged, in rooms where thoughts, energy is being exchanged. In those moments, if you are open, if you are aligned, it can quicken something within you. And I just hope that even when you watch this the broadcast, something can spark within you to let you know that beyond where you are, 2026 does not have to be like other years. 2026 does not have to be like the failures you experience. 2026 does not have to be like the struggles you had. You can intentionally start your journey. And that's why I'm passionate about this subject, because I'm not talking about your year only, but about your life. In 5 years' time, where do you see yourself? In 10 years' time, where do you see yourself? In 20 years' time, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing? Who do you see yourself becoming? What do you see yourself achieving? All of these are components of clairvoyance. All of these are components of visionary thinking. So I got home that day. I got a vision book. I don't have it here. I would have shown you. I wrote down the kind of man I wanted to become, the values that would guide my life, and all of those things. That is actually the foundation and genesis of my story. So to wrap up the class, I have just a few minutes left. How do you activate this power of clairvoyance? How do you activate the power of clairvoyance? I've just shared that in passing, but I'm going to summarize that. Clairvoyance is a function of your subconscious mind. Please don't forget that. Clairvoyance is a function of your subconscious mind. It is that disciplined ability within you to think, their disciplined ability to form thoughts within you and to hold it, and then to begin to walk into alignment with that mental picture you've gotten about yourself. You have the power to imagine. You have the power to create your future. I don't care what anybody has told you. I don't care the labels that have been placed on you. I don't care what society may have told you. I don't even care what your personal struggles are. I say this empathically. I don't mean to dismiss your struggles. I have respect to your unique journey and your limitations and challenges. But I'm simply trying to tell you that you can rise above it. We are all on a journey. You can rise above it. You don't want to hear stories of where we came from, the kind of backgrounds we came from. But just like that other brother who grew up under the alcoholic father said, no, my life can be better, my life can be different. I'm telling you that, yes, you have what it takes to imagine and shape your future. And that is by using the power of your subconscious mind. So quickly, how do you activate the power of your imagination? There are many ways. I've just shared one with you briefly as a story. There are many ways, but I've just listed three here that I want to quickly share with you. The first one is the power of association. When we say this, people often think that it is a cliche. People often think that it is just a random statement, but no. You are the aggregate, the average of your five closest persons. Relationships are powerful. You cannot travel into a future you have not seen. But here's the thing. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Life, it was the wise man Solomon that said, there is nothing new that is under the sun. Your biggest aspiration is somebody's reality currently. Somebody ahead of you, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, living light years ahead of you, have achieved what you are imagining as, oh, you want to take over the world. Hello, slow down. There are people that have taken the world by storm to show you that it is possible. Your duty now, that is the function of clairvoyance. That is the function of the subconscious mind. It is to identify those people. It is the discipline, the intentionality to identify those set of individuals, the mentors, the role models, the friends. Your peers matter. If your circle is not inspiring you to greatness, please, what are you doing around that ecosystem? What you don't understand that, you see, all this thing I'm saying, everything is energy. It is the mind. So at any time you're interacting, it's an exchange of energy. And if somebody is not impacting you with a positive energy, it's invariably impacting you with a negative energy, because there's no vacuum in nature. So your association plays a key role in helping you to activate the power of your imagination. I don't have the time to share stories with you, but you see, when I discovered this, I became intentional about those who would influence me. I had to disconnect from certain environments, without apologizing to anybody. They didn't need to understand me. I appreciate their inputs in my life, appreciate the things they help me to do, but I knew that if I need to get where I'm going to, I need to interact with the kind of people who are living that reality. Exposure produces growth. You need to expose yourself to the people who have the results you are looking for. In 2026, don't try to shadow box. Don't try to shadow box. Find a way to get into their circle by service, volunteer. That's one of the miracles that changed my life last year. Just by getting access to a man I respect so much and constantly watching him, something happened within me. So this is The first means through which you can activate the power of your imagination. The second one is by reading. So it is almost similar to it. By reading. So leaders are readers, they say, and it is true. Your mind feeds on the information that you give it. One idea from a book can change your life. And I'm not sharing theories with you. I'm not sharing stories with you. I'm an author. I've written books, but I read. And I can point out the books that have personally changed my life. One of such books I want to recommend to you is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And more specifically, another one I want to recommend to you is The Game of Life by Scoville Shin. I can't forget it. You see, one of the days I was in my very deplorable state. I was in a depressed state, to put it nicely. And my life was messed up. That was just like 2-3 years ago. And where I went out to eat, I was just there, and then it came, The Game of Life, like an information. That was the function of my subconscious mind. It came. Go and look for the book. So I brought out my phone, searched, and luckily I found it. And that book, oh my goodness, that book, I have devoured it again and again. I've read it an unheard number of times, because every principle there, I began to apply it, and I began to work towards the result. And I want to lastly recommend my own book, Paternal Influences. It will help you to understand the paradigms. You see, it is a difficult thing to identify, but the beginning of this whole change is by having an awareness, and this is what reading helps you to achieve. Reading helps you to become aware of the thing that is driving your life. You may think that you are in control, you're autonomous. What you are doing is by yourself. No, sadly, no. I repeat again. There are things that have formed your beliefs that you need to intentionally deconstruct. The limiting beliefs, you need to intentionally deconstruct them and actually now begin to recreate your life. So I've written that book for young men who want to actually leave a positive legacy in life. You can get that book and read it. It's going to open your eyes to understand the sources of influences that have shaped you. And the last, not the least, is prayer. Many persons, I'm talking to the Christians now. Many Christians don't understand the power of prayer when it comes to actually activating the power of their imagination. Prayer is not just a tool for just tendering your requests, communicating with God, as you understand it. Prayer is a powerful mechanism that helps you to activate this subconscious. For example, can I shock you? This class that we're having today, I didn't dream about it when I was writing, when I was reading. It was in the place of prayer this idea dropped into my heart. It was in the place of prayer that most of the ideas I've worked on actually come. So prayer is powerful. What happens is, in the moment when you are praying, there is an exchange. Something is happening within you. You are allowing, the spirit within you to find expression, to quicken your mind. And then in that moment, you are receptive to ideas that can change your life. You are receptive to ideas that can change your life. So these three, there are many more, like I shared with you. So for example, I attended a conference, and by hearing another man's story, this is why I believe that, you see, everybody have their stories in life. Everybody have their stories in life. And if you want to go faster in life, you need to find people who have succeeded in the things that you are doing and listen to their stories. One person's story can change your life. Just by listening to another man's story, something was ignited within me. Something was poured within me. Something happened within me. So this is simply that. So 2026 is a great year. As I bring this to a close, 2026 is a wonderful year. We have stepped into it. Our team as an organization is bold imaginations. Bold imaginations. You have to dream big. You have to think big. You have to allow your mind to conceive the grandest of vision and to pursue it without being afraid. Because, like I said, the mind does not know the difference between real and unreal. So once I conceive this class, I'm doing it today because my mind has seen the possibility. By the time when I conceived it, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't have all the access to all of this equipment and all of that. But look at me today executing it, because there was an awakening, a consciousness, an awareness, an idea that dropped in my subconscious, and I allowed it to find room, and we are doing it. So that is it. So if you can, this is the foundation of that statement. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. If you have held it within your mind by the power of clairvoyance, you can actually have the tangible evidence in your hands. So this year, you want to sit back and intentionally plan your life. You don't have to run around this year scattered. The year is made up of 12 months. In 12 months, you can do one or two things that can sporadically and radically change your life for good. It starts by conceiving the vision. Who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Where am I going to? What kind of person must I become? What do I see myself doing? And I'm not talking of vision of 1 year, 2 years, vision that is decades ahead of you. And then you begin to walk towards it from now. So if you are starting your journey and you don't have the knowledge of this can help you to go back and get a book, get a pen, sit down and think. Allow your mind to roam. Allow your mind to explore. Activate that power of clairvoyance. It's not daydreaming, it is the discipline. I told you, I have a vision book and I have lots of them at home. I sat down, I began to script my life. And I can tell you that I'm working in accordance with that script that I have made for my life. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be rosy. Don't get me wrong. It's not a superstitious kind of operation. It doesn't mean that everything is, you are going to have it figured out. You are going to meet challenges, and I'm grateful I remembered it, because I promised to teach us in seasons where you are having challenges, in seasons where it looks like nothing is working. Please let everything around you be breaking, but you see your mind, you must keep it disciplined, and your vision, you must keep it at the focus of whatever you do. So at any level, this is my belief, that there is something that you can be doing to move towards your vision. There is something that you can be doing to achieve your goal. It doesn't have to be grand. So this year, a lot of us now may not necessarily achieve the big goals, but do you have a vision that you are driving at? And what are the little steps that you can take at the level where you are to achieve it? That is what we're saying. And if you are at the level where you are executing at the big level, you have the resources, you have what it takes. How can you coordinate it intentionally to ensure that it reflects, it aligns with the vision that you have set for your life? A visionary life is the foundation for an extraordinary life. You can write that down. A visionary life is the foundation, is the key to having an extraordinary life. Don't go through life being one that is driven by the wind, drifting here and there. I want you to intentionally approach life with that knowledge and awareness, such as you have now, that there is a power within you. It is the power of your subconscious mind. It is the power to imagine and create the future that you desire. So this is it. There is no gimmick. It is psychological. It is empirical, scientifically proven. It is also time-tested. This is a timeless principle. Jim Rohn, one of the foremost personal development coaches, we hear his stories here and again. Jim Rohn, all he had to take Jim Rohn to change his life was 5 years. And it is by the power of what I shared with you. A mentor came into his life, Ellen Scholl, and that man changed his life under 5 years. But before he met him, at 25 years old, he was struggling, he was broke, he was married, he was hungry. But when he began to change his philosophy about life and began to change his paradigms and began to create a desired future for himself, in 5 years, he moved from being a beggar to one of the most sought after speakers. That can be my reality. That can be your reality. So that I'm saying that 2026 can be the year where it all begins to come together for you, where everything begins to make sense, where you begin to work intentionally, no more with the old scripts that have driven your life, but with this awareness that you are actually in charge of your life and that you can curate your life, you can direct your life, you can plan your life, just like anybody can direct movies, and then begin to work with that script. So a recap of what I have said so far, just to help you understand. So this is the day one of our class, and I invite you to join us tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll be more practical. If this was eye-opening, tomorrow we'll be breaking tables. That's on a light note. Your philosophy changes your life. If you can change your philosophy, you can change your life. So you need to, as a young leader, begin to articulate the kind of philosophies that govern your life. You need to begin to articulate the kind of philosophies that drive the paradigms that lead you. Come out of the cultural limitations that have been imposed on you. Some are religious limitations. Uh, um, this is not a church session, but I'm passionate about also believers, especially young leaders who are Christians. Some of us who are raised, in most of these settings where the mind was suppressed. And so here is the thing: we are trying to achieve a result, but then we have a conflicting internal system within us. You can change it. You can change that philosophy, and then you can change your life. So, clairvoyance is what it takes to actually imagine, create, and direct your future. It is not a bogus word. Clairvoyance is simply the fact that you can sit down, discipline yourself, and travel into the future. Have a vision, get a vision for your life beyond your current circumstances, and then you write it down. That vision, you articulate it, you write it down on paper, you get it, it is clear, it is compelling, and that vision becomes a mental map that begins to guide you. It becomes a mental map that begins to guide your operation. Vision creates focus. I will come to that tomorrow. A lot of persons who, if you understand the power of vision, you know that once you are visionary in your thinking, it disciplines you. Vision cuts you away from the unnecessary things and makes you to be disciplined to the absolute priorities that you must work in alignment with to achieve your goals, to become the kind of person that you desire to become. When you are visionary, when you begin to live a vision-driven life, you don't have the luxury of time to be found everywhere, to be doing everything. When you identify the core specifics that you must be doing, you now begin to pour your energy and your time and yourself into doing it. So I hope it has been a very wonderful class for you. And thank you for joining. And if you are going to be watching this later, uh, I hope that you found it interesting. I would love to read from you. I would love to connect with you after now. Believe me, I'm going to do that. And so this is just the one. And in this day one, we've been able to lay the framework, the foundation of what we'll be doing tomorrow, which is now systems thinking. We're going to be talking about systems thinking. So we have identified that we need to change our paradigms, change our philosophies, and then get a vision for our lives. Tomorrow we'll be talking about how to break down our big vision, our big goals into strategic actions and principles, into strategic goals and systems that can help us to achieve those goals. So thank you for joining. And I want you to remember, you have a mind. Go back and begin to use that mind. God has given you this great asset. It has given you this great power within you. It is yours to use. If you use your mind, it's going to be your ally. But if you don't use it, it's going to be your foe towards you're contributing to your failure. And I hope that you make the best use of your mind. Thank you so much for joining, and see you bright and early tomorrow. Bye.